Welcome back to the Mom Talk.
Where babies nap.
And Mom's Nap.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Mom Talk
Where babies nap.
and Mom's Yap. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ashley.
And today we are going to talk about
Loneliness. Yeah.
Yes, and motherhood. And I guess in general, it doesn't have to be just as a mom. But
No. It's very lonely as a woman sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should we could touch on building your village.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean?
Do you want to start? Or
I don't know. I don't have I guess I have a little village, but
I guess you could kind of share on, because you had your kids obviously before I did. Did you have a village with them, or were you kind of feel like you were on your own?
I was pretty much on my own. I mean, I had Nathan's parents
Mm-hmm.
because my family, they were not around, but I didn't really have a lot of friends because I was literally at home all the time,
Mm-hmm.
all day. Nathan went to work.
Mm-hmm.
We only had one car, so it's like if I wanted to go anywhere, I had to walk,
Gotcha.
and I was not about that life at that time. So yeah, I
Did it make it harder to be
Um,
isolated?
I think in a way, I think it made it hard because it's like I craved friendship, and I think I craved people and being able to talk to, other adults. And Nathan was gone all the time, and he worked nights, so he would come home during the day and sleep, and then he'd go to work. And so I was just kind of by myself for a long time, and making friends as a mom is really hard because you have to either make friends with other moms or you have to have somebody that can watch your kids so you can go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I'm very fortunate that we have a good group of friends that we all got married the same year,
Mm-hmm.
and then we all started having babies at the same time. And so specifically there's two couples that we're friends with that both have two kids also,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them we had them literally the same time as our two kids, and so that's super helpful because then they can play together, and then I can hang out with the wife, and sometimes they'll come here. I've gone to their house and stuff, but it definitely makes it hard because it's a trek to get them in the car and go do things. But I definitely have struggled before finding those good friends that are actually good friends.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in high school I also kind of craved good friends, and I just, not that I had bad friends, but they weren't always that great, and I often felt like I was kind of the last pick of the friends, and or people only hung out with me when they needed me for something,
Yeah.
and just because they knew I was nice and I was generous and stuff. But towards the end of high school, I did find those core friends that I genuinely felt like they cared about me and wanted me around. But it wasn't until definitely early adulthood, college age, when I was really plugged into church and finding friends who were also plugged into church. We're all have the same goals and we're seeking the same thing. That's what was really helpful for me in establishing my village, I guess.
Yeah. I think church is actually a really good place to find your village.
I agree.
Because it's all women looking for the same thing.
Yeah. Or there's people who are just willing to serve and be helpful and generous in any capacity they can. Like Dana.
Oh.
She doesn't have kids, but she's there for all of us when we have kids. And I know we're all going to be there for her when she does.
Yeah.
And she's just an awesome friend to have around. And not just because she's so giving, but she's also an awesome person too. So
yeah,
but
she is. Yeah. Every time I talk to a mom, in the little group, they're like, "Oh yeah, Dana was just here," and I was like, "Dana, she is amazing and busy."
Yes, I agree.
She cracks me up.
I also you started that walking group.
Oh, the pavement pounders.
The pavement pounders. That's been fun. I think we did that loop though. This was the first time where I think everybody was there.
Yeah, I think there was only one mom that didn't make
Yeah,
it.
and so uh, altogether, that was like 8 kids,
Oh, yeah.
and over half of them were toddlers.
Yeah.
And so walking this path,
Hey,
it took some time,
I
but it
think
was fun
I think an hour and 45 minutes.
just to walk to the park
Yeah.
on this one little loop that probably would have taken a half an hour if they were all in a stroller.
Yeah.
But it was a good time, and then like, letting the kids play with each other. And I think that's what's been fun about finding my village and like my community is also finding my kids' community at the same time, because
That is true.
I'm like
It was fun
helping them
watching.
build what's going to be theirs later.
Yeah, because I was watching your daughter play with one of the other kids, and they just were like hugging each other, and I'm like, oh, I was
It's
like,
so
that's a little
cute.
friendship that's building.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet. It's awesome. So yeah, it's been great because it's not just about me. It's like my family as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
So, what about childcare? Like, as a mom, like, how do you navigate people coming over and watching your kids, especially like in this crazy world now where it's like things that are not supposed to be acceptable are totally acceptable. And like, how do you navigate that with your childcare?
My husband and I have pretty good boundaries as far as one, like what we let our children do, but also who we allow to like influence in our kids' lives in that way. And so we have a very select few people that we let watch our kids. And it's because we know that they value our morals and like our rules and our boundaries, and they're gonna mimic that. Because that's a big thing, is like I've seen all the time with like grandparents in the movies, like aunts and uncles are like, I want to be the cool aunt, I want to be the fun grandma, I don't want to look like the bad guy. And so they're like, don't tell your mom I did this. And at the like hindsight of it, it seems like, oh, it's so small, like nothing can come of that. But in reality, like you're teaching that kid to be rebellious towards their family. And it's like something that small of, oh, I'm giving them a piece of candy I know their mom wouldn't want them to have. But now I'm teaching them that there's other things they can try to stretch the boundary around, whether it's eating food they're not supposed to be eating, watching stuff they're not supposed to be watching,
going places they're not supposed to be going.
Exactly. So even though it seems like, oh, like this isn't going to be harmful, it's like you've now added into their life rebellion. And so we're very clear with the people we have watch our kids, like our family members and stuff, like this is what we do not do.
Yeah.
And we've made it clear, like if you don't, adhere to that, you're not going to watch our kids.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely been hard because there's some people we've like waited a little bit longer. And now that like our kids are a little bit bigger, we're like, okay, it's probably going to be fine. We've relaxed a little bit. But it is still like important to keep all of our rules and not compromise them. And it's so easy for people to say, you just need to relax. You just need to just let them do the things they want to do. And it's like, no, these are my kids.
Yeah.
Like, you can do what you want with your kids.
Yeah.
But I'm training my kids up differently.
Yeah.
Because it's not just as simple as I want to be my friend's kid or my kid's friend. I want to be their parent.
Yeah.
And look out for them and stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, they're entrusted to us. I mean, like, God gave us those kids, and we're supposed to protect them as much as we can here. I did not. Okay, so my kids didn't even get to go spend the night with grandma and grandpa until I think Gavin was 2, and I was pregnant with Corbin. But even then, like when they would go, they still weren't allowed to like spend the night. And I've never like. Okay, I take that back. I hired a babysitter when Gavin was like 12. Which was awkward because then he ended up having a crush on this girl. But it was so funny. But I think it was because Gideon was so little, and Gavin probably could have watched him, but it was just kind of, I didn't want to do that. But she was a young lady at our church at the time. But other than that, nobody watches my kids except for my kids watches themselves or me or my
Mhm.
husband.
Yeah, we try to like do that too.
Yeah.
Just limit it, or yeah, just like really trusted people. I don't know. We haven't really talked about sleepovers yet because I've seen some just like horrific things
Oh my
nowadays.
gosh. Yeah.
And so it'd have to be like,
For me, sleepovers were like when you're older and I know that you can say no
mm-hmm,
and call me.
mm-hmm,
And everybody's like, why do you give your kids phones? And da da da. And I'm like, because if they're ever in a situation where they need me,
mm-hmm.
they have the ability to call me.
Yeah.
Do I monitor that phone? Yes. My husband is in cybersecurity. They think they can get away with things. It does not work.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
think it'll be one of those, either we have to like know the family really well,
yeah.
met both the parents.
But even then, that's,
It's still sometimes you
yeah.
just never know. Or it's like you can have sleepovers if they're in our own home.
Yeah.
And they're coming here versus you going there. But we haven't really talked about those boundaries yet, just because I know that's pretty far away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about that per se, but
Sleepovers are hard because you can't monitor everything. So
it's funny because like growing up, I had friends who like weren't allowed to go to sleepovers, and I thought it was so bizarre because my mom did not care where we went.
yeah.
And then now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, it makes sense why their parents were so restrictive about certain things.
You're like, thanks, Mom.
I'm
Thanks
like,
for letting me go all willy nilly out into the world.
thankfully, like I had a good head on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And it is honestly like God's grace that I, like, if anything changed where I could have been rebellious or just crazy and stuff, but I wasn't. And I think if I had that like mindset, my life would have been turned out so differently, just because my mom she was pretty trusting, and she didn't have any boundaries or restrictions on me. And like I could have easily taken advantage of that. And so I just know how the brain of a teenager is. So I'm like, wow, I don't think I'll be as free giving with my children as my mom was with me, just because, yeah.
Yeah. My mom didn't really let us run around, but we were out in the middle of nowhere. Like, I think we were like 14 miles from the nearest town. So it was like any running around we did was out in the woods. That was about it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about asking for help? Because I know, like, nowadays there's like, I feel like there's a stigma on like asking for help. And then, like, if you're asking somebody to help you with your kids to go grocery shopping or whatever, like, it's like a failure. Like, people see it as a failure. So, how do you feel about that? Like, what is your take on?
So when it comes to like doing errands, I only have like really like 2 or 3 people I call on for that kind of help, because I know they won't really care, and they know that they're assuming help with like my toddler. And so I think it just depends. I don't generally like asking for help, but if it's like a certain task where I know, like, what's also nice is if what I'm gonna do, like the other person needs to go grocery shopping also, it's helpful. Like they're like, oh yeah, good, I was gonna go buy this stuff anyway. So like then I feel less bad. But it is kind of hard sometimes to ask for help, especially because it's like, it's not just like, hey, will you run this errand with me? It's like, hey, will you help me with my child while we're at the store, and make sure she doesn't like get into everything while we're there just because she's curious, and just keeping her occupied in the cart. So it's like a 50-50 for me. It just depends. If all the people I generally would ask for help are unavailable, then I either just try to take it on by myself, which it's easier now that I'm 6 months postpartum versus like earlier postpartum, or when I was like really pregnant.
Yeah.
Because I can just wear my 6-month-old in the carrier, and then my toddler goes in the cart, and it's no problem. But a little bit earlier, when it was just difficult for me to do all that walking and pushing and pulling and all that stuff, I would just either wait it out until someone can help me, or I'd just stay home because I didn't want to ask anybody else. And so yeah, it just kind of depends on, I guess, what it is. I don't know about.
And do you feel like you don't ask for help or didn't ask for help because of any particular reason, or just because?
I think sometimes it was more of the like, not because I feel like a failure, but I feel awkward asking for
Mm,
help and I don't want to impose on someone's day or something or make it difficult for them. Or sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't really want to, like, there's only so many people I want to just genuinely hang out with.
yeah.
And so if the people I would want to hang out with can't help, I'm like, oh, I don't want to just call on someone random. And
Yeah.
that sounds kind of bad, but I'm a pretty private person. And so, yeah, need to put him down for a nap.
Yeah. Okay. So let's I say the one takeaway is build like a strong support group
Mm-hmm.
and find your people, find your village,
Mhm.
and ask for help.
Yeah, when you need it.
Yeah.
But ask like your trusted people too.
Yeah.
Like, don't just feel like you have to ask anybody who's able.
Right.
Because you also want to be comfortable in it
Yeah.
too. And there's been a lot of people who've offered me help, but I don't know them very well. And I think it takes getting to know them before I'm like willing to take the help too. And I think that's something I definitely need to work on as well, though. Like, not just picking and choosing, but like taking the help that people offer.
Yeah. It's hard though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Thanks for joining us.
yeah. So like and
Subscribe, comment,
yeah.
leave a question down below or something you related to, I guess, in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe what you want us to go more in depth on, I
Mhm.
guess. Okay.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Peace out.
Bye.